Yeah, okay. Give technology a little time, it'll catch up. Welcome, everyone. Today is September 28th, 2022. This is the Bicycle Advisory Committee Education Subcommittee meeting. Welcome everyone here in person and also online. We're going to start with the mission and the vision. The BAC mission is to advise and to make recommendations to the commission and to the director on issues related to bicycling in the city, including but not limited to amendments to the bike plan, bicycle safety and education, implementation of the bike plan, development of strategies for funding projects related to bicycling, and the promotion and promoting public participation in bicycling. The BAC vision is by 2027, the city of Houston will be a safer, more accessible, gold level bike-friendly city. Now I'll start with the roll call. All right, we'll start with BAC Chair Tom Compton.
I'm here.
I see you, Tom, but I don't hear you.
I'm here. I pushed the unmute. Is it still muted?
Not sure, but yeah. Well, I got you checked in, Tom. Good to go. BAC Vice Chair Alejandro Perez. Present. All right, Tracy Alexander. Yeah. Leah Chambers.
Here, present.
He's present.
It might be our speakers.
It may be
Yes, I
some
am.
speakers. Yeah, okay. But we're gonna pause for a second to see if we can fix the audio here. Oh, I think
You got it?
I think, yeah, fix it. All right, someone give me a test. Well, try now.
This is Tom. I'm here.
There it is. Okay. Whew, okay. Nothing major happening. Okay. So, thank you for your audio time. We'll try Leah again.
I'm here, present.
Thank you. All right, got you. Thank you so much. Adam J. Williams. Okay. Carl B. Salazar. Commander Christian Anthony Miller.
Present.
Beth Martin. Lisa Grip.
Present.
Trevor Reichman.
I'm here.
Thank you. Jessica Wiggins.
Here.
Gotcha. Yahaina Mahmood. Nick Hellier. Judith Villarreal. Amar Mohite.
Present.
Mike Van Dusen.
Here.
Anna Ramirez Herta. Nikki Knight. Robin Holzer.
Present.
Beyond McReynolds. Okay. Ex officio members, we have Ian Lavicek. David Fields.
Here.
Present. Juvenile Robles. All right, anyone that I may have missed on the roll call come in virtually. All right, we'll move forward on. As a reminder, Microsoft Team meeting instructions, the agenda slides can be found on our website. To join by phone, you can dial 936-755-1521 with ID being 524-722-257#. Also, just some meeting instructions. Please remember to stay on mute unless identified by the chair to speak. If you're connecting through the phone, please unmute by pressing *6. We'll start with the agenda. Maybe we have laid before you. Start with the director's report.
Thank you. Good afternoon, everybody. I want to take a minute and give you an update. We submitted last week the city's bicycle-friendly communities application. As you all know, we are set a goal for 2027 to achieve gold level status. We're currently on bronze. We are hoping to get to silver this year. It's a very, very lengthy, very, very in-depth application. Tons and tons of pages and questions and math and narrative. So I can't tell you my gut feeling or what we're going to know in a few months. We'll hold it for then. But what I did want to do was thank everybody who contributed, because it's quite a list, and I'll hope you'll indulge me a sec while I go down it. I want to start with the BAC chair, Tom Thompson. He spent extra time really going through it and sending comments and thoughts specifically to questions, as well as, oh, did you think of this? And could you add this also? And we really appreciate that, Tom. The job of the chair is not just in the meeting room, but all throughout, and thank you for that. We had a lot of feedback also from Bac Houston, who provided a lot of information as well as narrative, information from B-Cycle, from Metro, from HGAC, from Link, from Glorba, from Harris County Precinct 1, from Houston Parks Board, from the Parks and Rec Department, from the Police Department, from MOPD, from the Public Works Department, and from the Planning Department. I cannot tell you, there is no way we get this thing in, not to mention even on time, without everybody and all the information you provided. It was really, really a work. And what it made me realize is, while we are so focused on the city's physical biking network, sometimes I lose track of our network of people who are so committed to everything we're doing here. So regardless of what happens with the application, you all, my thanks and appreciation for the work on the application, as well as the work you do every single day to make Houston a more bike-friendly city.
Thank you for that, and we'll move forward.
And I'll take questions.
Okay, any questions for the director?
I had a question.
Yes.
Maybe a confirmation, David. I think I saw somewhere that we'll hear back from LAB by the end of the year. Is that correct?
Yeah, they said about 3 months from submission date, and it just went in, so that's right about the end of the year, but I don't have a specific date. I will keep you all updated every chance I hear anything.
And do they have like follow-up questions that they do as part of the process?
I think so. It doesn't say that specifically in the material, but I'm told, and I'm seeing some nods from the BAC members, that they may reach out with additional questions.
Okay, thank you.
All right, thank you for that. And we'll move forward in the agenda to Chair's report. Chair Wiggins?
Thanks, Brandon. Hey, everyone. Thanks for being online today. I think this is a bigger group than we've had in the past couple meetings, so thanks for taking the time. The first thing I want to just kind of report on is, so many of you saw that I think it was two weeks ago, 2 weekends ago, the beautiful Hillcroft at Westward intersection transformation began and was completed this past weekend, and I got the chance to go out and help them paint the intersection, which was a lot of fun. And from that experience, the National League of Cities reached out to me, interested in the project and wanting to know more about the people involved to get it done, and what our plans were to follow up with the project and figure out, so we painted this beautiful intersection. We're hoping it makes it safer, and encouraging me to encourage others to make sure that when we put in infrastructure like this, especially innovative, artistic, kind of tactical urbanism type things, to make sure that there's a follow-up and an evaluation period. National League of Cities is really interested in putting together a kind of a set of case studies to look at how low-cost interventions have measurable impacts on safety. So I sent her, David, your name and a few others to make sure that she reached back out to you and folks at the city to make sure that we're getting all the limelight that we can get, and we're getting all the, direction we can get from them as well. So just a little push on evaluating the really cool things that we're doing. The other thing that I want to kind of just give you a heads up on, and this is, so I've been interested in open streets for a pretty long time. And for those of you who aren't familiar, that's shutting down, roads for people driving and opening them for people walking, biking, playing, cartwheeling. And so I'm really excited because I'm going to LA next weekend to get to participate in their Ciclavia program and learn from their program staff. Hopefully I'll gather as much information as I can and bring it all back here, but hoping I can have a really cool report the next time we meet on that.
All right. Yes, questions?
Jessica, while you're out there and researching, can you ask them kind of a scale of resources required, not dollars so much, but staff? As we want to add more programs, there's so much we would like to do, and we are kind of hitting our heads up against a ceiling of how much we can get done at any one time. So just a sense of, it's a FTE all year long, or, it's just a couple of people for just a couple of weeks, or just a general sense would help us budget a little bit.
Of course, yeah.
Thank you kindly.
Thanks for doing that, Jessica.
I mean, I'm also seeing a concert, so.
You didn't have to say that part. We just thought you were being altruistic.
All right. No more questions or comments. We'll move forward. Public comment section. Written comments to the BAC can be sent to the email by 2 p.m. the day of the BAC meeting. Comments will be read aloud by staff during the meeting. If you'd like to comment by phone, you can join by dialing 936-755-1521, ID being 524-722-257, pound when called upon the chair. If you are online, make a comment via Microsoft Teams, you can put your name in the chat and you'll be called upon. At this time, we didn't have any written comments from the email box. So if there's anyone online that has a public comment, raise your hand. No, seeing none, move forward.
Brandon Ricky Cardenas just raised his hand.
Okay.
Hello, everyone. Can you hear me?
Yes.
Yeah, so thanks for giving me a chance to speak. I'm not sure that it completely applies to this specific subcommittee of the education committee for Bike Advisory Committee. But I just wanted to point out that there was something we noticed over at the bike trail near where the Houston Dynamo and Houston Dash play, that there's been a valet company that's using the bike trail as a roadway for cars to drive on. It's near the Edo Bike Co. And they're kind of using that as a roadway for cars to easily pass to a parking space in a grassy lot. So I just wanted to point that out. Maybe someone can kind of look into that and maybe pass the word on. Thank you.
Yeah, no.
You know exactly where that is.
So,
A specific, either block, street or something.
So I work at the shop and, yeah, the shop has been putting in calls and, calling the Park Houston, and so the intersection is, Emancipation and, East where the Columbia tap starts.
Okay.
And then there's that small section of trail there that I think what Ricky, I haven't seen it, but I think what Ricky mentioned is that cars are cutting through that trail to get to, St. Charles, St. Charles.
Okay.
To get on the other side of the building where the shop is at, to get to access the parking over there. So yeah, that's a constant issue during games, concerts, where people drive into town to go like watch all these concerts, and when like they pile up, it's pretty hectic out there, so yeah, it's been a concern for a while.
All right.
Thank you, for that. Anything else in the chat, Sharon?
Not at this time.
Thank you. Right. Next on the agenda is the bike-friendly drivers video discussion. It says divers, but I got that. So my apologies. Supposed to say drivers. But it's supposed to say diver. Chair Wiggins, hand it over to you.
Sure. So I'm just curious, if those of you who got the email had a chance to maybe pop in on some of the videos that are available that are kind of a collaboration between Bike Houston and then HPD has some really great content in there too. So just like a show of hands or maybe like a nod so I understand how many people actually like have an idea of generally what we're talking about. Yeah. Okay, great. I guess a few months ago or a few meetings ago, we talked about what we really wanted to focus on and get done within this subcommittee. And kind of the first thing we wanted to focus on was getting this education program, kind of making sure A, that it's what we want, and then B, that we can use it to educate the city of Houston's fleet drivers. And that this was going to be one thing that we did just to kind of get us off the ground and have kind of a quick win, not so quick, but as quick as we can, make it. So I reviewed the video. There's 3 parts to the video, and really a shout out to Commander Anthony Miller, because the videos are awesome. The content that HPD added is also really great. And I really like how the testing of the knowledge was incorporated into the videos as well, so that we don't have to have, say, a staff person go out and talk to all the fleet drivers to go through this education, whereas, you'll have to have a facilitator of some kind. But thank you for doing that. It's really, really great content. So I'm kind of wondering what other people's thoughts on the content is, and what we see as the next step for formalizing this program within that of the employee fleet driver training within the city of Houston.
I can jump in since no one else has yet. I agree with you that I think the videos are very well done, and Commander Christine does a terrific job narrating it. I mean, she obviously understands what she's talking about. She's not just reading from a script. So I just think, great job on everyone that put that together, and particularly to Christine for her narration. And I think I also like that there were familiar parts of Houston that were presented, as well as, in some other cities, just for examples. But it's great to see these examples within Houston of how, the different bikeways we have and the streets and so forth, and how to ride in them. So that's all good. I guess the only concern I might have is, over time, it may become dated. The one obvious example is we have a new police chief, right? So I don't know if that raises concerns or not to people. And it's not a huge deal, but it's something to consider, down the road as, as the state of the art continues to advance in infrastructure, for example, including what we're doing here in Houston. And maybe some changes in thoughts of, how to interact and so forth. So, those are just some thoughts I had from watching them. But I also, and I do remember us talking in a prior meeting about expanding the program to the other city departments, as you mentioned, Jessica, having all city fleet drivers required to take the course as a very logical and hopefully not too difficult next step. I think that's a terrific idea. I don't know how to make it happen, but I really am. I think that's a great way to go where we should go next.
This is Leah. I can go next. I didn't have a chance to watch all the videos, but I think my thoughts were very similar. Tom and Jessica, I thought they were great. I thought it was wonderful low hanging fruit that we could potentially get something going, even if we did do updates or things later to just get it moving. So I think I was more on like, all right, let's use this. What do we do? How do we use it? And kind of on action items. So that's where my mind went.
Brandon, there's a hand raised from number 417-694-725. I can't tell.
I think it's
Just again.
Trevor. It might be Trevor.
Oh, it's Trevor.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah, I think that's me, although I don't recognize that number, so maybe it assigned me some kind of other number. I'm not sure. But yeah, I'm in agreement. The narration was spot on. I thought the videos did a good job for giving reason for being cautious, but also not scaring people away from cycling. In general, I like the way that they addressed that there are problems at the infrastructure and design level. So it's not putting all the blame on mobility users. I think it could also be good to point out that in areas based on the crash data, that in areas where there is good and viable bicycle infrastructure, that there are less crashes and less fatalities. So this could also be an opportunity for advocacy for better infrastructure in general. Those are kind of my initial thoughts.
All right. So it sounds like we're good with the content. Everyone had positive feelings about it. Go ahead, Robin.
Jessica, we have, yeah, hand up.
It sounded like you were about to pivot to where I want to go, maybe. So interrupt me if I'm about to go where you're going, but I've been on board with this content for a while, and whatever we need to do to get more widespread adoption or have a competition or some side like prizes for departments that have the highest percentage or something to get it widely adopted and viewed within City of Houston is awesome. I'm on board with that. I am eager for us to figure out how to take the outreach further. Maybe 10 days, 2 weeks ago, I was walking across Commonwealth and was just gobsmacked to see there's an AT&T underground facility there. And the first AT&T driver was parked in a reasonable place on the side street, but the other guy had pulled onto the shiny new separated bike lane in a way such that one set of his tires was up on the curb and the other side was up on the divider curb. So he was straddling, like completely blocking the bike lane. And he drove away before I could talk to him. But I talked to the other guy about the kinds of training they have to do, that AT&T is super serious about driver safety to the point where you'll notice they back into parking spaces in parking lots, and they're required to put their safety cones behind their back door, backed into a parking space in a parking lot, because they're hardcore about really being safe with how they operate. And it should be really easy to get them to incorporate this into their routine. Like their values, their stated intent is totally in alignment with what we're trying to do. And they're not the only ones who are. So I guess my question, maybe this is a question for David, but does the city have any capacity? Like if we brainstormed a list of 24 entities, corporate, private sector entities. Yeah, the telecom's easy. AT&T, Verizon, Xfinity, T-Mobile, there's a handful there. Delivery people is another group. The folks who service restaurants every day, Admiral Linen, Aztec Rentals, Silver Eagle, Cisco, people who are often having to park in the street, and to get them clear about the way they operate as drivers affects others on the street. Like, what capacity does the city have to help us do some outreach and get more of these entities on board with sharing it with their drivers, not just the city drivers? That's my question.
So the good news is the city has relationships with a lot of these different entities. The relationships are not necessarily planning department for each one of them. But I think if we can brainstorm that list, and it sounds like you just kind of did it, we can start reaching out to departments to figure out who they communicate with regularly. So as opposed to just kind of cold calling, info@AT&T.net, we actually get a specific person and see if we can get it through their process.
That would be amazing.
There's also, city vendors. So you have to be registered with the city as a vendor. So we have that information. I think it just, whoever is responsible for communication, and even if it really is just an outreach or communication, may not legally be able to require anything, but to state that due to you doing the business, with the city of Houston, you're around our facilities, just being a good partner, we would like to offer this educational outreach for, particularly your drivers, but for anyone. And so that might even be something, because you never know who might take that initiative to watch it and learn.
I love that.
In the chat, we have a comment from Amara mentioning Amazon. We don't want to leave them out.
I mean, the other one, this one's a lot trickier, but is all the transportation network companies, the Ubers, the Lyfts, all that's much more diffuse. My thought is, in terms of prioritizing, the ones where the company owns the vehicle as well as employs the drivers directly are going to be easier than the ones where it's all thin corporate veil spread out.
Does that safety meeting, does that still go on? Is this, do you know, it's like a
It
safe-
is.
the safety meeting, the city of
Matt,
Houston?
The city one or the one that Matt DeLeon was doing over at TechStat? Or another one?
I thought it was just a city one.
I'm not
Where
sure.
There's an internal, like, city to city departments one.
Yes,
And that's, I don't know officially what the name of the committee is, but they're big
is that
initiative.
health and safety?
I think so. It's called ZIP, Zero is Possible, and it's all about eliminating all types of workplace.
Yes, that's the one. Is it, because it's James, yeah, so with our health and safety, or the health and safety person, I know, I've only been to one.
And we're on that, we sit on that.
Okay.
We can certainly bring this to them and try to get their contacts.
They're trying to reduce, accidents and obviously injuries and workmen and all of that, but that might be something if a representative, because I don't know how it would be to, who's going to be contacted for the city department to then incorporate it either into their training, new employee orientation, driver training, whatever,
Yeah, I think that's a good idea.
Okay.
And we can take the lead on that.
And so just so I understand, you said that there's an internal health and safety. Is it like an annual meeting just for the city of Houston
Monthly or
or?
quarterly?
I think it's quarterly.
Yeah.
I think it's quarterly.
And
that
it's
would be
just for
zero
city of,
Mhm. So it'd be city of Houston, so it's city of Houston departments. What's good about that though, is that anyone who then wants to sign on again, because as explained in the email, the talent management system is all city employees. That's the way we do all the training, and the bicycle friendly driver training was bumped up, was reactivated for 2 more years. So it's just that system. So they reactivated it for 2 more years, so it should be in the system until 2024.
okay, great.
So if I can
So-
offer from the staff side to help facilitate, we'll bring this over to that committee that the commander talked about. If the BAC, if this committee could send us just a brainstorm list, don't worry about it being too long or too short or being the perfect one of businesses that you see out there a lot. But let's maybe focus on the bigger ones with bigger fleets. The bakery that has 2 vans is probably not going to spend a lot of time with this, but there are a lot of those out there also. And send us the list and we will start to see, we may have to prioritize to, a few at a time where they have connections with the city and to show them that these videos are here for their specifically for their drivers. Is that something we can ask of the committee?
Absolutely, yeah.
You want to have that
Looks
sense?
like
Hey,
Robert's.
Yeah.
I just posted the first dozen off the top of my head in the chat.
Thank you.
No problem.
And-
Thank you.
This is, I was to say, this is Leah. I can take the lead on at least setting up some sort of document to track, and then we can all add to it.
Sounds great. You just send that to me, Leah, and we'll get it rolling.
All right, sounds good.
Um,
Okay, thank you. I was like, I think that was Brandon. I'm drawing notes, so I'm not like watching. Perfect.
So, okay, it sounds like I'm feeling like we have 3 different audiences here, and one, which is kind of the smallest audience, is City of Houston employees who operate vehicles. 2 are City of Houston employees in general that attend the internal health and safety meetings. And then 3 is the external outreach education to companies that operate fleet vehicles. Is that correct?
Yes.
Okay.
Come in.
So-
Well, I mean, I wouldn't say that, so the driver, I wouldn't say that just a subset would be the City of Houston employees who attend this meeting. That meeting usually is attended by directors or a supervisor of those entities. So to present this, it would be the decision of them to possibly incorporate stuff like, so that's what I'm saying, that's a way to get to those city departments who might have fleet drivers. So sanitation director usually comes, like I said, the only time I've ever been, I was acting assistant chief. So these were like higher level meetings. So that's what I meant. That's kind of the in to some of these departments. So if you present it as a viable option, and that was a way in.
Okay, that makes sense.
Okay.
Yeah.
And so I'm wondering, so if we say, I feel like there needs to probably be a second list, and it's probably much shorter, of the city departments within the city that have people who drive. And I think that's waste management, HPD, but you guys are already doing your part. Who else is on that list?
Public Works.
Just about all departments have access to city vehicles.
Okay,
Yeah.
okay.
Is there a particular, is there a particular group, like obviously PD and fire, but like sanitation, not that, are there any particular violators y'all are seeing, or is that more concern, or that you would want to do? Because again, you don't necessarily have to wait for this meeting. If you, for example, want sanitation and feel that should be, that's like, maybe other than us, that's like the guinea pig, right, for some, and you want to then propose to the director of, sanitation that this be incorporated either into their fleet or required training for them if they have to do that, then that's a very direct line. But is that the one? Because they probably have one of the biggest fleets, if not the biggest fleet of vehicles, or is it Public Works or both? So I don't know.
Yeah, I'm going to propose that we start with the safety group already because it's kind of that umbrella
Okay.
to talk about exactly these issues. We can certainly emphasize solid waste and HPW. I think they're the 2 biggest
Okay.
fleets. Maybe the HPD is also right up there.
Yeah.
Yeah, but somewhere in there. But
Okay.
really, we want to get this message to
Okay.
all of these directors, to everybody. Planning department, one of the smaller departments, we still have access to the same shared vehicle fleet, and we want everybody to be aware of this and move it forward. So we'll kind of take both of those city focused pieces on us.
Okay, that's great.
Yeah.
Okay, so follow up on that. So I'm wondering, I want to make it as easy for, participating departments to participate as possible. And I'm wondering because, so there are 3 20-minute-ish videos. So it's about an hour. of someone's time, and I'm wondering if we could just have, or could we maybe as like a carrot to them say, you know, we'll set up the room and have the video going on whatever day works for you to make sure that they go and do it. You know, to take that kind of logistical piece out of the equation for them. Or are we already giving them enough?
Well, if it's a city department, it's on TMS. So it's broken up. It's on their platform. So whenever they would be required to watch it, they would watch it. You could watch it over 3 lunch hours. You could watch it just sit down, because, you know, and that's the way the system has to break it down into those things, but it's already there. You don't have to set up any room. So if someone says drivers do that, they can, and what you would want is that you would actually want them, and this is kind of an honor system. You don't want to just say, oh, push it and go to the bathroom for 20 minutes. But you would want the individuals to get on the TMS system, watch it, because it tracks. So it tracks that training. So they complete that training. So they might get credit for that. It would also show that they've done that. So that would be important, instead of just doing mass. Like now we don't do like mass roll call videos that we used to do and we would sign off. It literally is pushed to our TMS. We watch it, it's tracked, we acknowledge, stuff like that. So, yeah. If it's city employees, now, external people, yeah, y'all gotta figure, you know, because how do you prove, right? But city, we have that system.
So we'll at least know then if someone has completed the videos, and would we be able to get maybe, because I'm thinking, you know, how are we going to keep track of this? How do we know this is successful, etc. Would we know how many people completed it? And yeah, okay.
We can. So I mean, I know on our end, and I'm sure other departments have theirs, and I mean, having admin rights to do it, but I know that like it was the TMS unit at the training division, at HPD's training division, that originally downloaded it, and Ms. Baptiste reactivated it. I know that she can get on that system and run how many people, you know, have done that. So I'm sure that there are reports that can be done.
And are the videos, is there an opportunity to integrate like quiz questions? I know they're in the videos themselves, but is there a way to have like a short 3-question thing at the end to get even more data from folks, or is that video that kind of all you can get?
So for HPD, it could be a separate, like some of our trainings through TMS, whether it's HPD or whoever, you can watch it and it can be a separate module that is a test. In addition, in order for us to get state credit, we have to do an evaluation. So I was actually required for me to fill out an evaluation form. So all of those are like modules, but I mean, to add that at this point, I'm not, yeah. I'm not sure. And then it also gets into the thing of, to be real honest, you want people to learn, right? So if they answer and maybe they answer it incorrectly, you get to retake it and then you're going to do it. So now everyone's going to pass. So does that really give you any information?
Well, yeah,
Or
not so much.
Are there other ways?
Yeah, I'm not so much interested in maybe gauging their retention of the information. I think I would be more interested in asking more questions along the lines of, do you feel as though you know, more like, do you feel more comfortable, you know, driving around a bicyclist now?
So more evaluation. Okay.
Yeah, more of a qualitative understanding of just their overall feelings about it, rather than how many feet should you stay away from a bicyclist in this situation. I don't think this would be the format for that, but I think it is valuable to just take a little bit of the temperature of people who've taken it to say, you know, did this make you a better driver? Do you think this made you a better driver? Do you think this is going to make you a safer driver?
Okay. I can ask. Like I said, I know she reactivated it. I don't know what that would look like to add another module to that at this time, but if we could, and it would almost be like a kind of a, I guess, a survey type thing, I could ask.
Yeah, just like 3 questions, I think would be enough. That would be awesome. Cool. So I guess we have a few. Then when is the next health and safety meeting? Do you know?
I don't know, I'll pass around.
Okay,
I'll
Alright.
find out that information and get it to you, Justin.
okay. Great, that sounds awesome. I feel like that's a wrap for that for now, until next time. So good. Thanks, guys.
Yes.
Brandon, may I jump in here? You don't have any comments that I want to make mention of, except to say that, you know, Robin began her comments about the different companies that you could address. And then Leah Chambers said, please drop any other ideas you have in the chat, folks. So if you have, you know, businesses that you want them to group together, please put in the chat. Somebody, Thomas Smith, put in Centerpoint, and then Robin Holzer brought up more businesses. So to save time, I won't read them all, but if you have some ideas, please put your comments in the chat so you can see that the businesses in the city of Houston that could actually benefit from some of this training.
And to add to that, is anyone on from Bac Houston today? No? Okay. I'm just wondering if we still have those stickers. The bicycle friendly driver stickers. That would be a really cool thing to show to folks to entice them to. I mean, I would love to see that sticker on every city vehicle in Houston.
That would be amazing. They're good looking stickers. Maybe we can have a tiny budget for printing up some more stickers. I'd very much like this to go far and wide and vastly outstrip however many stickers Bac Houston has left over from the first batch. we should have a lot more
I'm
stickers.
misunderstanding. What stickers on what vehicles?
It's bike friendly driver.
But
Envision
on
a
which
badge.
vehicles?
Envision a 5 or 6 inch diameter badge that says I'm a bicycle friendly driver. Basically, it was your tchotchke for when you complete the training.
Right, but each employee doesn't usually have a very specifically assigned vehicle. They shift it to fleet.
True, but maybe whole departments could get all of their people trained, and then we'll put a sticker on every vehicle or something. I don't know.
We can ask. I would be much more excited to give employees stickers for their own vehicles when they take the training than to commit to what's considered marking up a city fleet vehicle.
Yeah. There's a lot of rules about stickers and stuff like that, I will tell you. So like HPD, it is very specific. It is 100 Club, HPD Foundation, we're hiring, recruiting. That's it.
We're not trying to be difficult. We just know the bureaucratic
Yeah.
paperwork to go through to get that done. And
Yeah.
I don't know that it's the best use of our time.
Yeah.
That's
Thank you.
helpful. It's still, I mean, even if it's, I think even if we're going to, you know, when we get to the outreach stage, I think it would be good to just have something that we could give to folks. So I don't know, you said, I think maybe Ricky in the chat, you said you volunteer with Bac Houston. Maybe if you can just ask when you see them next and see if there are any plans to print more stickers or if there are any left over. That would be awesome.
And Jess, we've got, oh, we had a hand raised. Never mind. I think it went down.
Sounds good. Thanks, everybody.
Sharon, is anything else in the chat before we move forward?
No, there was a hand raised, but it was put down, so it was, I guess they're not ready to make a comment at this time, so we're ready to go.
All right. Move forward to the next item in the agenda. Now recap the visioning discussion. Chair Williams.
Oh. So I think we already went through this.
Oh, you want to go to the bubble? To the call out thing? Okay.
Yes.
There you go.
So I guess for those of you that weren't kind of involved in our initial visioning session, this is the lovely bubble map that Leah put together for us, kind of to put down the universe of opportunities that we have to improve bicycle education in Houston. And as you can see, there are many, many options, but we're doing our best to focus on a couple so that we can make progress, meaningful progress, and move to the next step. If you have any thoughts, or if you want to like take a screenshot of this, and I think Leah's making another one for this meeting too, which is really great. But if you want, this graphic, you can have it. Just let us know.
I've sent this image out in a few of our emails, but I'll make sure that the post email, it will have this attached to it as well.
Great, sounds good.
Can we also add it to the website? I think this is a great way to visualize what the subcommittee talks about.
Yeah, we can do that. That's not a problem.
And just to note on today's is I've kind of taken this graphic and then called out the flow that we've talked about today. So it's kind of like a highlight of what the training piece of this so far anyway. If we want to talk about more, I can add more, but could be a cool way to track the progression of the work. The question I had for folks is there anything from this conversation that we had? And it was several months ago, so we might all need to just read it again. But, Chair Wiggins talked about the training and kind of progress on that. I just kind of wanted to throw out, is there any other things that have been percolating for you all? Any sort of next steps that have come up on any of these other issues?
So I've been looking at this and I looked at number 3, who offers bike education? And I see, is that us, UH Downtown Bike Club?
Yep, that's you.
Okay. Right, so actually, October 11 and 13, I'm bringing over Fernando Martinez to UH Downtown. And we're planning to sign up students who are interested in learning how to ride a bike, because at school, there are students who don't know. So we are doing bike education those 2 days from 12 to 2. It's just a general discussion of like, what are we gonna cover, and like, little tidbits about learning how to ride. And then Fernando will bring like a sign up interest form to like get students who are interested in riding to sign up for a future date to take the course on riding a bike at I guess a precinct 1 property.
Question for you move forward. Is that open to the public, or that's?
Yeah, I'm leaving it open to the public because yeah, it's like generally like, you don't have to be a student to ride a bike, right?
Right.
So I wanna make sure that like anybody can come out and do that. And that's like, for Fernando, I think it really helps him to get participation from not only like the students, but people in general who are like interested. And that's their goal.
Do you have a flyer for it?
We don't have one yet.
Okay.
We're working on it, and
Send it to me when you do.
Yeah.
The notes and.
yeah, I'll be working on that.
Okay.
And then we're also having Nathan's doing a bicycle maintenance clinic on October 4th at the campus too. And I'm gonna leave that open to everybody as well, like just like the same thought of doing that. And that's part of the bike club's goal, is like to try to coordinate and like have classes every semester. So like students can learn stuff. And hopefully, like, we get like recognized and like, cause the part of the bike plan also is, or not the bike plan, but the American Cyclists to get universities to apply to. So that's what I've been working on, and that's why I'm still involved with the University of Houston downtown right now and the bike club to try to get that application submitted and see where we end up on that. So this education thing, it's a really good notes. I like. And thanks for mentioning the bike club.
Omar Mohite has his hand raised.
I just had one comment. This is great. How do we show the energy that the city, with all of these other efforts, are moving forward through this? And I think so. The comment that was just made that we are doing this. How do you document that this is resulting in actual stuff? So it's not like a static this is no longer a static document. This is a document that changes over time and people are participating in different way. How do we portray that the energy that this is generating is one thing to think about. I think so people like to see that the effort that things are going into is resulting in change on the ground, and those of us who live in that world know it. But I think so we also need to think about how do we project that change so that others see that yes, we are slowly but surely changing the world in a positive way.
Leah has a comment in the chat that says, what date and time is that event? So I know that you're working on the flyers, but you want to get specific information?
The bicycle maintenance is from 2 to 4. Learning to ride is from 12 to 2. That's Tuesday and Thursday, October 11 and 13. So yeah, those dates are confirmed with the speakers. We have one room booked at the University of Houston downtown for the bike maintenance, and we got to do a process for applying for a room there at UHD. So we're waiting for confirmation on the learn to ride. So that's why I kind of hold off on it. Yeah. Okay. But the dates with Fernando are confirmed. We just got waiting on confirmation from the university to get the rooms so we can book the events. And once that's done, we'll just release all that information. Yeah.
Thank you. Leah, your hand is still raised. Did you have a question still? Go ahead.
I did. I want to comment on Amar's statement and this is maybe a question for the city staff, but do we have some control over the BAC website? Like, could we use the BAC website as a forum to share some of those things? How static is that?
Yeah, in fact, one of the things Brian had on his list before he went on military leave was an update and refresh of the website. I was going to be coming to this committee with ideas and how to roll that out. We did have to put that on pause a little bit. But I think we can do smaller tweaks if there are very specific things you want to show, or have like a dialogue box, or, a feedback form without doing a whole big refresh.
Yeah, okay, that sounds good. I think there's some things we could probably do there. I haven't looked at it recently, I'll be honest, so can we take a look at that? I'm sure it is. I'm sure it's gorgeous.
Carl Salazar has his hand raised.
Yeah, hey, everybody. I'm still relatively new to the group. I don't know exactly how long y'all have been here compared to me, but I have not seen this document before. And it is it looks pretty cool from what I can see it. One thing that I was wondering about, and we've talked a little bit about partnerships like with UHD and some other organizations, which is certainly the way to go, especially when you don't have a lot of budget to do everything on your own. But I serve on a couple committees with Memorial Park and Conservancy, and I just kind of wondered if we do, or if in the past we've done kind of education. I don't know whether it's an event out at one of the big parks, or any kind of involvement in signage regarding kind of bike safety, or I don't know, because there's certainly trails that go through these parks and people ride bikes, there's tons of bike riding, as you all know, in in Memorial Park and the other parks as well. I just kind of wonder what kind of overlap we've had with some of those organizations.
Unless somebody from the committee wanted to talk about experiences they've had while sitting on the committee. Otherwise, I'll tell you from the staff standpoint, it's been non-strategic. It's kind of catch as catch can, but we're always looking for more opportunities. So if you can help us be a conduit, that'd be great. We'd love to amp up that part of it.
Okay, yeah, okay, good. I'm happy to do it. One of the committees is Operations Committee, so excuse me, at the next meeting, I can bring up the subject and see if there's something there to, I don't know, another outlet, I suppose, where we know lots of cyclists are. So seems like a low hanging fruit. But I can do that and then kind of report back next time.
That was good. Thank you.
Thank you, Jessica. Your hand has been up for a while, and after you, Matthew DeLeon, go ahead.
Sure. Carlos, thanks for mentioning that. I feel like in my dream world, what I would love for Memorial Parks and others to do is really get more involved in Bike Month and Bike to Work Day or Bike to the Park Day, or really kind of promote and brand that as part of the bicycle related activities that happen in May. That's off the top of my head, some of the alignment that I can see there.
Yeah, that totally makes sense. That might be kind of also give us plenty of time to kind of think about how we might be able to do something together. Yeah.
Yeah. The other thing I was going to mention is and I'm looking just at this piece, number 3, who offers bike education. And I'm remembering that Bike Houston used to, and I'm not sure that they do anymore, but they had a calendar of bicycle events that was published on their website. And I'm not sure if it's there anymore. If it's not, that would be something, if we could just have, that somehow people knew that they could post their bike event on the BAC website and we could host that calendar for the city, would be really cool. And not a lot of work on our part. We would just have to have a format, and it could be totally just bulleted points. It doesn't have to be a WordPress automatically updating calendar. It could just be like every month by this date, you have by this date to get in your bike event, and we'll post it or something like that. That would just bring so many more people into the BAC's website, the city's kind of web arena, and give us some more eyes. Is like a monthly web update within the bandwidth of the city, or bi-monthly, quarterly? Like, is that, I don't know how it's
big the update is. If it's, a couple of new events, an updated item, that's no problem. If it's a whole refresh of the page, that would be a little heavy.
Gotcha.
But certainly a calendar with more events that others are doing that we can link to. We already have a calendar, and that's just adding more material. That's no problem.
Yeah, it's not a problem. Matthew, I think you were next.
Yeah. So, Matt with TechStot. So we do bike education. Unfortunately, a lot of what we do is we work with partners to amplify their message. So I have a grant with Texas Children's Hospital, does a lot of bike rodeos for elementary school kids. So that's one thing we do there to reach our local schools and do bike rodeos. We also amplify by giving other opportunities and resources to other partners. I mean, I see Precinct 1 here, Fernando. We empower Fernando with our information and our paper handouts and and bike lights as well. So we are kind of like on the back end instead of the front end on this because we don't have that much bandwidth to be the front head of the ship here and doing bike events directly ourselves. Like to, right, we're working on building that capacity up, but right now we give out supplies and equipment to other organizations. So we give in City of Houston, bike lights and bike helmets. So this is one thing we do right now while we're still building out our capacity to start doing events. So we're in the network. We know some of these organizations. For me, myself, one thing I'm working on now that I'm going to start bringing our coalition members in is the a bike resource guide. That's kind of a big update from the one from 2015 from Bike Houston, where we're going to reference the City of Houston bike map as the main map because it can be updated constantly versus a printed out map. But also looking to put more information in there on what people need, like what to do if you're in a bike crash or see a bike crash. One thing I did do is I surveyed a lot of bike shops in the 610 loop and what they feel they need and what they feel they would be willing to do. And all of them said if the government came together and put up a bike resource guide, they'd be willing to put that right there, flop in front of the register right there saying, hey, this is something you can take. And TechStart, of course, I believe we have the capacity to print out most of these, whatever we want to make. So TechStar's here to help amplify the message, whether it be printing or in some kind of way grant funds. I believe Harris County Precinct 1 has a grant starting up next month with TechStot. This will be their first grant for bike education. So definitely we're here to help whatever way we can, whether it be funding a grant to do bike education or providing supplies, and eventually helping out being part of a bike rodeo and doing events.
Thank you for that. No.
Tom
votes.
Thompson has his hand up.
All right, thank you, Tom.
Yeah, I was just going to mention, I just got on the Bike Houston website and they do have a calendar. It's different from the way it used to be, where they actually had it in kind of a calendar format. Now it looks like this. It's just essentially a list of events that you can scroll through. So it's not as extensive as I remember that it used to be, but I just wanted to let you all know that they do have some events listed on their website.
Thank you. Anyone else in the chat, Sharon?
In the chat, you've got a couple of comments from Mary stating that Houston B-Cycle has a limited calendar of bike events, and she sends the link. Also, Susan Jaworski put in information for HGAC's bike safety program, and she put the link in the chat as well.
Okay.
And I think Matt has his hand back up again. Matt, did you raise your hand again?
Yeah, I just wanted to fit the format. Yeah, also, if we're looking at bike events and what that means, if everybody's familiar with an app called Chasing Watts, which is becoming widely known in our local market here to find a group ride to join. I believe potentially that's a local app, and we could probably use that also to add bike events to that. I'm not sure who the developer is on this, but that's another resource I know bike organizations are using, even companies like Trek and Sun and Ski Sports are using to put on their bike rides. So that would be a great opportunity for us to share events on bike safety in that app if that can work in a perfect world.
Sorry, this is Leah. What was the name of the app again?
It's called Chasing Watts. Let me see if I can find it. I'll put it in the chat.
Great, thank you.
And Matt, I've got a follow-up question for you too. So the bike rodeos that you're doing with Texas Children's Hospital, is that correct?
Yes, we found them to do bike rodeos.
Okay, gotcha. So then TxDOT is looking to invest in, where it's bike education, like bike rodeos, printed materials. And will you also, does that include the development of materials?
So to answer that question is we've always been in this space. I guess it's the one thing about TxDOT is it doesn't really show how much they do on the behavior traffic safety side. But so most of that kind of help we do is in a formal grant agreement. So we help an organization, I believe in Austin or San Antonio called, I think, Gazalo or something, the nonprofit. But there we fund a lot of things, and it's the development of the information as well. But if we don't have a formal grant agreement, I've offered this before to this group especially, is that we can work on seeing, I have creative designers on my end out of Austin that we can help develop materials as long as you guys have the content. And then at the same time, we can also help fund to print those materials as well. So yes, we have both of those that can help fund whatever we want to do here as in making education.
Okay, and when you say materials, you're talking about like print media, not like video media, like.
Correct. Yes, we
Okay.
primarily focus on print because we have a really big print budget. When it comes to media, that's different. So I'll give you an example. Right now, that's to be a formal agreement. I fund Harris County Emergency Corps to do pedestrian safety videos. So that's fund. I fund their development, their recordings. So we currently have a video with the Houston Texans Toro and the Dynamos Dash mascots doing a pedestrian video for kids, and that's funded through our grant. But it has to be through our grant process to formally do that. If it was just, me wanting to partner with City of Houston, I couldn't give that same kind of ability. So it has to be in a grant agreement. But our grants are opening up in late November. So if City of Houston applied for some of that, or another organization, nonprofits, they would be seeing that money come in if approved by October 2023. Unfortunately, it's a year from now, but we could totally fund stuff like that in a grant agreement.
Is there, can you give us a website or a date, so that we can follow up and make sure that we're taking advantage of that program?
Absolutely. I'll look for that web page. It's probably going to be our web page for our grant management website. But definitely, I would tell people here, I'll put in the link, but sign up for it, put your name in the queue there. So when we are ready to open that up, I believe they sent out a mass email to everybody in that system saying, hey, our application's opened up, be aware. And also, if you're just kind of wondering what kind of stuff we fund, we have a safety plan on that same website, which I'll link it here as well. It shows every project TxDOT funds in behavior traffic safety. So you'll see the organization, the objectives, and what they're doing. So we have quite a few bike ones that you can look at to kind of see a template for.
Okay, cool. And are the grants pretty specific? I know I'm taking up a lot of time here, but when TxDOT comes to the table with money, you want to take advantage of it.
So we're specific as in we have 14 categories of safety. Of course, biking's one of them. So it can be it could be in the Houston area, it could be in the Harris County area, it can be in the Houston district area. And the main thing we look for is we have a 80-20 rule. We'll pay 80, you pay 20, matching us 20. Clear objectives that are objective, meaning I can say yes or no, it got completed, and then with those activities to how to get to that objective. But outside of that, it's mostly education and enforcement. We don't pay for research, so you need to already have the secret sauce, and we're just helping you spread that secret sauce of education and safety through the community. Simple as that, but I'll put everything in the chat.
Okay, great. I would think that maybe another task for this committee at our next meeting would be to develop, if we could invest. The other thing I would want to know is kind of an average dollar amount that is associated with these grants. And then if we could come up with a project, and maybe David and Brandon and others have already an idea of what you would want to do, but I would love to have something prepared so that we could apply when the grant is out.
So I think we'd be looking at committee to provide some guidance, as well as a partner who's going to provide that 20% and apply for it.
So then, Matt, does the partnering agency if you said it's a city or a nonprofit, correct?
It could be a city nonprofit, correct? Yeah.
Okay.
So the best one we can have this conversation later, but basically, a lot of times it can come from the match can come from employee salary, since you're probably already paid by the organization to do this exact work. So that's where usually your match comes in, through your salary as well as through the benefits of that employment. So that's a really easy, low-hanging fruit where you can get that match dollars from. Outside of that would be just simple things like office operations, like lights on, room, stuff like that, is indirect costs for that as well. But yeah, that's how stuff you're already spending for, we can count that as match as long as that time you're spending hour-wise is dedicated to this grant and not just doing 5 other things at the same time.
Gotcha. Okay. So then that might be the way that we, based on how much time that the city has to kind of allocate to it.
And it can be small, like grant amounts can be like $10,000 up to like $700,000. It just depends
Okay.
what makes sense. If you're doing a small bike program where you're educating people with, let's say, maybe 1 event a month, and you want to produce, paper materials, some bike lights, stuff like that. I mean, I could see that going like 20K, maybe 30K, depending. So that's, ballpark, just if it makes sense,
Okay. Yeah, maybe Brandon and David, if you want to reach out after this and maybe we can have another conversation about that and then talk about it at our next subcommittee meeting. That would be awesome.
Okay, there are not any other hands raised, but there are some comments in the chat. Let me start with Robin. She refers back and she says for the list of the major Houston employers, she wants to target bicycle-friendly driver training. Please include these corporate sponsors. So when you're looking for ideas, that's in there just to let everybody know. And then Matthew DeLeon from TxDOT, he put the link in for the grants, and there are 2 separate links listed in the chat. Just wanted to update everybody.
Thank you. I think everyone's feeling good about the recap discussion here. Chair Wiggins, if you're okay with you, we can move forward. If there's anything else? All right.
Unless Leah has anything, I think we're good.
No, I'm good. Thanks.
All right, just a reminder of where we are here on the agenda. We are now entering open forum. So now if there's anyone here in the meeting of the forum, do you see committee members have anything that wasn't on the agenda or that wasn't stated here in the meeting, you have the floor. Just raise your hand. Guess it's always a good discussion when no one's running to the podium. Okay, seeing none, we can move forward with our announcements. We didn't have anything emailed to us, but if you do have some announcements, some events coming up, be sure to you can email them directly to me. I'll Shane, if you don't mind putting my email in the chat. You have any flyers, let's say any events coming up, I'll be sure to add them to this presentation, have them added to the website where meeting documents will be placed. So our next meeting is the Bicycle Advisory Committee on October 26th at 2:30 p.m. Held in the Annex Council Chambers. Then after that is the Infrastructure Subcommittee meeting held here at 611 Walker, John B. Reyes, 6th floor, November 17th at 2:30. November 16th? What I said? Just at 17th. My apologies, I'm moving too fast. My fraternity was founded November 17th, so it's just wrong time. So November 16th, sorry about that, at 2:30, it was 4:30 p.m. And we'll meet right back in this meeting, the Education Subcommittee, December 21st. And that would be the last meeting of the year. And that'll be held here at John B. Rare, virtually and in person, 2:30. So one more thing.
And I did have one announcement I'd forgotten to give to Brendan. This Saturday from 9 to noon, there's going to be a fun fall bike ride event at Sylvester Turner Park. Staffed by staff, where we'll give out bike helmets, courtesy of TxDOT, and bike lights, courtesy of TxDOT, as well as our bike material and Vision Zero material. And come on and come on.
I have a comment or something like about the Oregon Forum. Like these events and like that, because I want to promote this for like the USC Bike Club. Like, and social media is a big thing with students, and I don't think there's an Instagram for Houston Back Line, is there?
How y'all feel now?
Yeah, there's a Twitter, but there's no Instagram. So I was wondering, like, so you can post like flyers like that, and that way, like, I'm like big on like talking all that stuff, so. And I can share it like on our stories and like whatnot, so getting students like aware that the city is doing things like this, and so that way they can go.
Right. So what I'll do, I'll reach out to our communications team and see what we need to do to get that set up.
Okay,
Good.
cool.
For now, if we post to Twitter, can you help
Yeah.
us move it to Instagram?
Yeah, I'll do that.
Thank you.
Uh-huh.
Okay, you've got several hands raised, and I want to start with Leah, because her hand was raised first, and then we'll come back to about 3 different people after that. Leah?
Thank you. Sorry, I just asked me and my iPad had just died. So I was like, well, I can't go through it right now, but I just wanted to run through who said they do what really quick during this meeting. So the first was that I'm going to start a brainstorm list, taking what you all shared here in terms of the list to do the trainings. And then Commander Christine said she'll ask about adding an extra module to the training. Brandon was going to ask about the next health and safety meeting, the schedule. Ricky was going to ask about bike-friendly stickers. Carl's going to report back on stuff at the parks. And Matt sent the links to the grant. And I think that's it. Sorry, my internet's fuzzy today, but let me know if I missed anything. Thank you.
That's what I have written down.
Thank you, Leah. I want to
Perfect.
make sure we get the Verde Realtor on here. This was the hand that was raised before and didn't get an opportunity to speak. So you want to go ahead?
Just want to leave my 2 cents. My first time in the meetings, and the way I got it was through Twitter. I don't know where to even get this email that everyone's talking about, so just a little confusing on that. But I did want to share. I left a comment on the Twitter post just to share 2 cents and say maybe trying to share individually. This is not like a mass marketing sort of thing, but on fitness applications towards people that are already on cycling and stuff, to share through their social medias, possibly create like some borders for photos that have QR codes that link to certain initiatives or goals that we're working towards. But yeah, the Twitter stuff found me, and please keep sharing it.
Thank you. Amar's hand is still raised and Jessica put her hand down. So Amar.
I just want to give a shout out to, now that fall is still finally here in Houston. We have a couple of events happening next month. The 9th annual 2-day Oak Forest is on October 8th, 8:30 a.m. You can Google it. It's on their Facebook app. And then I also saw the email from Annabeth about 2-day Northside on November. 2-day Northside on November 12, 2022. So I think just wanted to give a shout out to those 2 events that I'm aware of. I'm sure there are other events happening, bike events happening.
Thank you, Jessica. Did you still want to make your final comment? Also, I wanted to make sure that y'all are made aware of the fact that Brandon Mosley, his email address is in the chat. Thank you.
Nope, Leah read my mind. But I do want everybody to kind of think about maybe a grant idea that they would have to kind of further our focus in getting this bicycle education out to people who drive. And we can talk about it next time.
I raised my hand. The speaker, I didn't catch his name, but if you don't mind dropping your email in the chat, I'll make sure I add you to our email list that we send out of upcoming meetings, events, stuff we're doing here with the BAC.
Mosley, not sure if that was for me, but I logged in through the Microsoft Teams link through Twitter, and I do not see the chat at all. I can't. I don't read it.
Do you? If well, obviously it's recorded. You know what? Here, if you don't mind, I can give you my email verbally, and you just send me a message, and I'll make sure I add it. Let me know when you're ready.
Ready.
All right, it's Brandon, BRANDON _Mosley, MOSLEY HoustonTX, HoustonTX.gov. So Brandon.Mosley@HoustonTX.gov. And I'll make sure you get on the list.
Thank you, Brandon.
Appreciate you. Thank you.
Thank you, Brandon. You've got some comments in the chat. Amari's provided the information about the events that are happening in his area, and Ricky Cardenas is asking that you please add him to the email. His email address is there. And I think that's all we have from this end.
All right, seeing no more, guys, thank you so much again for a very productive meeting. We'll see you guys in October.
Okay.
Thank you.
Thanks for all you do,
Thank you.
everybody.
Thank you.